Good evening, I'm Bob Schieffer. The Roman Catholic Church has a German pope. The Cardinals have elected Joseph Ratzinger, who will be known as Benedict XVI. We'll begin again in Rome tonight with John Roberts, and we'll have these reports.
He has taken the name of a healer, but where will this arch-conservative lead the Catholic Church? I'm Mark Phillips with that side of the story.
I'm Sharon Alfonsi with what Americans think of the new pope.
Black smoke, white smoke. I'm Ellen Pizzi in Vatican City, and we didn't know either.
And I'm Bob McNamara in Oklahoma City. Profiles encourage the youngest survivors of the Oklahoma City bombing.
This is the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer.
Well, it happened faster than anyone predicted. Just 4 votes over 2 days, but in the end, the Cardinals chose the man who was the heavy favorite in the beginning, Cardinal Ratzinger, the first Germanic pope in 1,000 years. The very conservative dean of the College of Cardinals who presided over the conclave itself. We have a team of correspondents in Rome again tonight, and we begin with John Roberts.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam. We have a pope. Words that echoed from the balcony of St. Peter's to more than 1 billion Catholics around the globe. And in the square, wild cheers and applause for the new pope, who in just 25 hours and 4 votes went from Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger to Benedict XVI. In his greeting to the crowd, Benedict showed the humility characteristic of new popes. I am consoled, he said, by the thought that the Lord knows how to work with inadequate tools. It was a choice that defied the conventional wisdom. Cardinal Ratzinger was the favorite going into the conclave, but the church's top enforcer was seen as far too controversial to be elected pope. And the swift vote? Well, that surprised everyone. As it had twice before, the first wisp of smoke from the Sistine Chapel chimney appeared an inconclusive gray. The tens of thousands gathered below roared a hopeful approval, but for more than 10 minutes the world waited, not quite knowing how to read the smoke signal drifting above the Vatican. Then the bells told the full story. For 15 minutes, they rang in celebration. The Roman workday just ending, tens of thousands were drawn into the streets. By the time the chosen cardinal, now robed in his papal vestments, appeared on the basilica's balcony, St. Peter's Square was jammed. In some ways, Ratzinger seemed destined for the job. He led the Pope's funeral, guided the cardinals through the 9 days of mourning, and in the pre-conclave Mass, projected an image of someone who was almost preordained. And there was one other twist to the day's events. A doctrinal conservative, Ratzinger took his papal name from Benedict XV, a moderate, an attempt perhaps to soften his reputation as an unswerving hardliner.
From the moment he accepted the job, Benedict XVI assumed all the powers of the Pope. All that's left now is his ceremonial ascent to the throne of St. Peter, the inaugural Mass planned for this Sunday. Bob?
You know, it occurs to me, John, that this is one of the oldest men ever to become Pope. How is his health? His predecessor, of course, was very young for a Pope when he started and took over. He traveled so much. Do you think this Pope will travel like the previous one did?
Well, that remains to be seen, Bob. After all, he is 20 years older than John Paul II was when he assumed the papacy. But the Vatican today said that he would make at least a couple of trips. His first one would be to Poland, and he will also preside over World Youth Day in Cologne, Germany, his home country, in August.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Pope Benedict is 78 years old, to be specific. He was 78 on Saturday. He was born in Bavaria. He was forced to join the Nazi youth movement at age 14, but he deserted the German army during World War II and for a time was a prisoner of U.S. forces. He was ordained a priest in 1951. He became the Bishop of Munich, was elevated to cardinal by Pope Paul VI, and John Paul II brought him to the Vatican, where Mark Phillips now picks up the story.
In choosing Joseph Ratzinger, the Cardinals picked the most polarizing figure in the Catholic Church. No one was more respected as a student of theology, but no one was more feared as a chief enforcer of Vatican orthodoxy.
He has the most appalling reputation around the world as someone who has squashed theology, persecuted theologians, the chief of the thought police, the master of the Inquisition.
It was Joseph Ratzinger's job as head of the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, the old office of the Inquisition, that led to him being labeled by some as God's Rottweiler. He attacked dissent, banishing it from the church's mainstream, sometimes banishing it from the church altogether. But his uncompromising reputation, his backers say, is undeserved.
He himself is absolutely not the iron-fisted enforcer, arch-conservative that he's depicted as being.
Yet in his last public announcement before his election, he laid down his gauntlet. The church had to resist what he called the dictatorship of relativism, which is Vatican code for the church must not compromise on its principles to be popular. Everybody knew what he meant. On the hot-button issues, contraception, celibacy, women priests, he would not budge.
Does his selection represent the consolidation, the ascendancy of the traditionalist, what we would call the right in the church?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, that part of the church has been energized. This will increase that energy. It'll be interesting to see what the reaction to this will be.
The new Pope Benedict has described homosexuality as a moral evil. He said the sex abuse scandal in the church has been exaggerated by the media, and in the last U.S. election he said pro-choice candidates on the abortion question should be denied communion, in other words, denied salvation. As a cardinal, Joseph Ratzinger took no prisoners. As a pope, his policies now have the stamp of infallibility.
Thank you very much, Mark. The new Pope speaks perfect English and has been to the United States a number of times. CBS News correspondent Sharon Alfonsi has been sampling the reaction of Catholics here to his election.
From Milwaukee to Los Angeles to Miami, a symbolic welcome for the next Pope, a man whose image in the U.S. is as clear as the sound of the bells that toll for him.
He's older, he's German, he's very conservative.
And that left some outside New York's St. Patrick's Cathedral with concern.
I feel a little disappointed. I don't understand.
Pam Dudish had hoped the Cardinals would pick someone a bit more progressive.
I've heard that he mirrors Pope John Paul very much in his thoughts.
So you don't think he has the same charisma?
No, definitely not.
Last year, Cardinal Ratzinger's confidential memo that stated pro-abortion Catholic politicians should be barred from receiving Holy Communion has been strongly criticized by some U.S. Catholics. But supporters say the clarity of his convictions is exactly what the church needs.
In these days, you need someone conservative, and I think he's the right choice because of his conservatism, because I think the world sometimes gets out of control.
Leaving many Catholics to wonder how this 78-year-old German might make his mark on American policy and its president.
He's a man of great wisdom and knowledge. He's a man who serves the Lord.
Still, some say in a world of news 24/7, people have been too quick to label this Pope. As one parishioner said, it's a 2,000-year-old religion. Let's give him a day. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, New York.
And to talk a little more about what American Catholics can expect from this new Pope, two men with considerable insight. In Washington, Monsignor Brian Firm, who's the Dean of Canon Law at Catholic University. He knew Cardinal Ratzinger when he was posted at the Vatican. And with me here in New York, Monsignor Bob Wister, the Professor of Church History at Seton Hall. Father Wister, I think it's fair to say a lot of American Catholics were looking for a Pope who might liberalize some of the rules of the Catholic Church. Is this going to be the Pope who does that?
This is not going to be the Pope who liberalizes the rules of the Catholic Church. No Pope would change the doctrine of the Catholic Church. And Cardinal Ratzinger has been a very articulate formulator of church doctrine.
Father Firm, I think if we were talking about politicians here, and certainly we're not, but Cardinal Ratzinger would have been called a hardliner. Is that a fair characterization of him?
Cardinal Ratzinger is particularly concerned to ensure that the church teaches the genuine doctrine that it must teach. And in that sense, I suppose he's a hardliner, but not in a negative sense, because he passionately believes that this is the one way forward for the church to teach authentically.
Father Firm, you knew this man when he was in the Vatican. What sort of person is he?
I would say he's retiring, perhaps even slightly shy, but an extraordinarily kind and unassuming individual. Probably, arguably, the most intelligent person I have ever met.
Father, he's following a very tough act here, isn't he? In
very
truth.
Tough act, yes. And no pope is the same as his predecessor, and no pope is a clone. In the course of history, popes have been followed by men who are very different from them.
Let me just tick off a couple of things and just get the thoughts of both of you. Birth control. Would you think that this pope would change the church doctrine on that in any way?
I can't imagine that he would change it.
Women in the priesthood?
Absolutely not.
Divorce?
Again, highly doubtful. I can't imagine any changes on that.
Father Firm, go down that list with me again.
There will be no change on the fact that the church has taught that it doesn't feel itself, that it has the ability to ordain women priests. With respect to divorce, if by that you mean that the church will condone divorce and remarriage without a church annulment, no, I don't think that the present pope will do that, and I think he will maintain the church's teaching on birth control.
Gentlemen, I want to thank both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up next, it is the 10th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, how some of the youngest survivors are doing. That's tonight's Inside Story. But first, CBS News honors fallen heroes. Bill Jacobson. He traveled the world as an Army brat, then joined the Army himself and became a respected leader. He stood 6'5", he ran marathons, and he taught Sunday school. He loved spending time with his 4 kids. He checked up on them in his last call home. The next day, his 9th wedding anniversary, he was killed by a suicide bomber.
With all the recent news on prescription pain relievers, you may be asking what's right for you. Talk to your doctor and ask about Advil. The fact is, no other over-the-counter pain reliever has been proven stronger or to last longer on tough pain than Advil. Not Tylenol, not Aleve. Advil has been trusted by millions for over 20 years. Ask your doctor if the strong, trusted pain relief of Advil is right for your kind of pain.
Thinking makeover? Start at the top with Excellence Cream from L'Oreal. Absolutely beautiful color that's hassle-free. So creamy rich it doesn't drip. Nothing protects better and nothing covers grays better. Triple Protection Excellence Cream from L'Oreal Paris. 1, 2, 3, 4.
For you, my sweet. I see you are overcome with love. Or could it be congestion and other seasonal nasal allergy symptoms? Your congestion will not keep us apart.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
Love means never having to say you are congested.
To treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one. Talk to your doctor.
Exhilaration when you need it. Utility, even when you really don't. The 7-seat SRX Performance Utility. Cadillac, breakthrough.
Visit your local Cadillac dealer for these attractive offers. Residency restrictions apply.
They say you are what you eat. Put a plant in topsoil, you get a starving plant.
Because ordinary topsoil has little, if any, nutrition.
Now put a plant in new Miracle Grow garden soil. Wow. Rich organic ingredients, plus Miracle Grow continuous release plant food. Nourishes nonstop for up to 3 months. Plants grow twice as big, and you get twice the compliments. That's nice. New Miracle Grow garden soil. Make your own miracles.
Say terrorism, and the date that most of us think of is September 11th. But for the people of Oklahoma City, the date that they think of is this one, April 19th. Today, they marked 10 years since a truck bomb tore through the Murrah Federal Building, killing 168 people and scarring the lives of many more. Bob McNamara with the Inside Story.
Johnny Allen Wade.
One by one,
Blake Ryan Kennedy.
they again remembered the 168 killed on this city's darkest day.
And my father, Donald Ray Leonard.
But a decade has not healed the heartbreak.
And Teresa Antoinette Alexander.
The bombing memorial is still so painful that Oklahoma City Police Inspector Don Hull has never gone back, though he was a hero that day.
Trust me, I can close my eyes and envision some of the most horrific things that you can imagine.
Minutes after the blast, in the federal building's rubble, Don Hull unearthed 18-month-old Joseph Weber.
And I had to do CPR on him several times. He quit breathing on me.
The child's injuries were so severe, Hull literally held the small body together.
This one I did in watercolor with the help of my art teacher.
Wow, that's really nice.
He helped me with these ripples around the legs.
Today, 11-year-old Joseph Weber couldn't be healthier. Excelling at art or honing his Little League skills, he has no memory of that day.
Nice. We do believe there was a miracle, and we just now view it as our job to kind of help him grow up and fulfill whatever his destiny is.
Don't wake the squirrels up.
Brandon and Rebecca Denny were the only surviving siblings. Rebecca fully recovered, but Brandon struggles without the use of his right arm, a limp, and suffers seizures. Still a miracle, since 10 years ago tonight, he was not expected to live.
I don't think in 10 years there's been 1 hour of one day where I haven't worried about something.
P.J. Allen, whose lungs were charred by the bomb, is today an honor student but needs 3 treatments a day to aid his breathing. And Chris Nguyen, the oldest of the daycare survivors, is now a high school freshman who also can't remember the bombing. All of them true survivors.
Watching me, why?
Symbols of hope for a city still healing. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Oklahoma City.
And still ahead tonight, embattled House Majority Leader Tom DeLay again takes on what he calls the activist judges, this time criticizing a Supreme Court justice.
It's allergy season, Mole. Time to choose an allergy medicine.
Pick one of those. You could be suffering again in 6 hours.
Oh no, Allegra 180!
It lasts 4 times longer.
Why would I even consider those others?
One dose of most OTC allergy medicines may not last as long as you want, but just one Allegra 180 lasts up to 4 times longer than one dose of most OTC allergy medicines.
Long-lasting Allegra is still working.
For people 12 and over, side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or backache.
Allegra works around the clock.
Long-lasting Allegra. The relief goes on.
Alert, 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 alert.
Sir, we got a level 2 case of diarrhea.
He's losing it!
Remember the Imodium? The new liquid gin. It works often in just 1 dose.
Soothing Imodium liquid transfer in progress. Calming taking effect. Normal function resumed.
Enjoy your day, Jim.
New Imodium liquid. Make peace with your body.
Cats can't resist Whiskas' new meaty selections. It's our meatiest tasting cat food ever.
I'd like to redeem my credit card miles to Miami.
No, blacked out.
Ooh,
You sound strong.
please?
No.
Just for me.
Okay.
The answer's always no.
Go from no to no hassle with Capital One No Hassle Rewards. There are no blackout dates on any airline, anytime.
Should have worked at Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Want to know a secret? Some grown-ups don't eat all their vegetables. Some adults don't start their day with breakfast. And there are even some otherwise intelligent people who don't always eat right. For all of you, there's Ensure, a source of complete balanced nutrition loaded with food, energy, and 24 vitamins and minerals. So even if you don't always eat right, you can still eat smart. Drink Ensure in 5 irresistible flavors. It's nutrition for a healthier you.
President Bush's nomination of John Bolton to be the ambassador to the United Nations may be in some deep trouble tonight. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee abruptly put off a vote on the nomination, citing the need for further review. Critics say that Bolton was openly hostile to the UN and that as Undersecretary of State for Arms Control, he tried to retaliate against those who disagreed with him in the intelligence community. House Republican leader Tom DeLay has been under attack, as you know, on ethical questions involving who paid for some of his travel abroad and his campaign finances. Well, in a letter to constituents, he denied all wrongdoing, and today he opened an attack of his own on Justice Anthony Kennedy, a man that Ronald Reagan appointed to the Supreme Court. In an interview with radio host Tony Snow, DeLay attacked Kennedy for, among other things, doing research on the internet.
We've got Justice Kennedy writing decisions based upon international law, not the Constitution of the United States. That's just outrageous.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he said in session that he does his own research on the internet. That is just incredibly outrageous.
Gloria Borger's been tracking this all day on Capitol Hill, and Gloria, you're going to have to help me on this one. What is Tom DeLay's point here?
Well, Bob, I think Tom DeLay's point is that he's calling Justice Kennedy one of those so-called activist judges who does not rely solely on the Constitution when he writes his opinions. And DeLay believes that Congress is the place to fix all of that. He said in this interview today, Congress sets the courts up, we can also dismantle them. But by the way, Bob, DeLay is far from alone on this. Right now, for social conservatives, the question of who sits on the bench is issue number one.
Well, what's wrong with doing research on the internet?
I think Tom DeLay would say you ought to stick to the Constitution, and that is it, and you ought not to go to the internet for your research.
And do you think they're really going to try to impeach someone on the Supreme Court here?
DeLay was asked that question, and he held back. I think there are others who agree with Tom DeLay on this question of judicial activism who would like to impeach some folks on the court.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gloria. To help us keep off extra pounds and improve our diet, the government today threw out the old food pyramid and replaced it with a new one. It says is simpler to use. The new pyramid, which is available on the web, has colored stripes, orange for grains, green for vegetables, and so on. And depending on lifestyle, you can choose among 12 pyramids, or you can read the 80 pages of guidelines. Still to come, confusion in St. Peter's Square. Was the smoke black or white, and where were the bells?
What a weekend.
My skin felt so smooth. No stress. Stone massage. No husband. It was fun. Thanks for driving. As usual. Back to reality.
Performance, utility, and envy. The 7-seat SRX. Cadillac. Breakthrough.
Visit your local Cadillac dealer for these attractive offers. Residency restrictions apply.
They say your footprint is as unique as your fingerprint.
It's like me, unique.
That's why Dr. Scholl's created memory fit insoles with memory foam to form to the shape of your foot.
It forms right around your feet.
For customized comfort, see the doctor, Dr. Scholl's.
To help maintain a healthy heart, your body needs potassium, like you find in salmon. Of course, this isn't something you'd want to drink every morning, like Florida orange juice.
With lots of potassium that's good for your heart. Florida orange juice.
When you're congested, mucus can settle into your chest.
I love moving in day. Nice try, but I'm not going nowhere.
That's when you need Mucinex. Mucinex is specially made to break up the mucus that causes congestion.
Uh-oh. There goes the neighborhood!
Ah, that's better.
And one Mucinex pill lasts up to 12 hours.
Hey, got any room at your place?
Mucinex in, mucus out.
Introducing Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. So revolutionary, it targets and kills the toughest weeds without harming your lawn. Weed Be Gone Max sprayed here. Ordinary weed killer here. Only Weed Be Gone Max has a foaming action and weed targeting formula for total root kill. So it killed the weeds, but not the grass. The ordinary weed killer didn't target anything, so it killed everything. New Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. Kills weeds, not lawns. Guaranteed.
Wait, did you see that? Go back. Clearly, that woman is trying to get more fiber and calcium in her diet. Now, it's so much easier with new Metamucil capsules plus calcium. Metamucil fiber for regularity, plus as much calcium as an 8-ounce glass of milk for strong bones to help prevent osteoporosis. Metamucil capsules plus calcium. Stay regular, stay strong.
Tomorrow, the exciting race around the world heats up. Will one team participate in a ritual for the fast forward? Find out what really happened from the next Amazing Race cast-offs on The Early Show.
Abraham Lincoln is widely considered one of the country's greatest presidents, maybe the greatest, and today the current president helped dedicate a major new museum celebrating Lincoln's life and legacy in Springfield, Illinois. President Bush toured the exhibits and called Lincoln America's hero of unity and martyr of freedom. Back in 1978, when Pope John Paul I was elected, there was a lot of confusion about the smoke signals from the Sistine Chapel. Was it white? Was it black? Was there a new pope or wasn't there? Well, the Vatican came up with a plan to make sure there would be no confusion this time. But as Alan Pizzi reports now, it didn't work.
Was it black or white or a trick of the light? The timing should have told the tale. Smoke before the second ballot of the afternoon had to be white because there was no reason to burn the first ballots on their own. But who knew for sure?
Is it white?
White smoke has called Romans to St. Peter's Square to greet the new pope for nearly 500 years. But the clouds in the evening sky made it hard to see what color the smoke was.
When we saw the smoke, we all went into chaos.
First white and after black.
I was sure it's white.
All 14 tons of the bells of St. Peter's were supposed to ring to make the smoke message clear. But it happened at the stroke of the hour, so even we weren't sure if the bells were merely announcing the time or a new pope.
At this point, we do not know for sure what color it is.
Bells are going, but that could be 6 o'clock, or it could be a new pope.
In defense of us and the faithful alike, a picture of a temporary chimney in the most photogenic city in the world to announce the successor to the most media-savvy pope in history was bewildering.
At first it looked gray, somewhat black, and then we saw that it was white, and then from there on it was history.
Finally announced by the bells, a surprise on all counts, a German pope chosen earlier than anyone had predicted. As confusing as the signal was, it is perhaps fitting that a man with a reputation as a traditionalist should be introduced as the first new pope of the 21st century, the old-fashioned way. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Vatican City.
And that's the news. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart, where you can find everything you and your family need at everyday low prices. Walmart, always low prices, always.
We have a great team at CBS News. They're the ones who can tell us what we need to know because they've been there.
The CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer. This is CBS.